I made some joke like, I'd love to get one of the coconut cakes he gives out. I want to get on that coconut cake list. And man, was it crickets on this phone call. I have never been so aware of being online, like chronically online, like they call it, like I did with this coconut cake joke. Like no one got it. And I was just like, do you guys know about the coconut cake? And everyone was like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh God. I felt so embarrassed. I wanted to crawl under my desk and just log off and never bring up cake again.
Hey everybody, it's Nerdy and Nice. If you're listening to this, thank you so much for finding us. Mondays are for the nerds. I'm John, and with me as always is my wonderful co-host, dirtbag style Kit Kat eating Lacey Gilleran. Hey Lacey.
I feel like you were so excited to know that that was the case just so you could open the show that way. Before we recorded, I was eating a Kit Kat, and he went on this whole thing being like, "What? How did you eat it? Did you eat it as one piece? Did you eat it as two pieces?
You gotta tell the real story.
What's the real story?
You were making mouth noises.
I was going like this.
You were like cleaning, like cleaning the scene over there. And I was like, "Are you
cleaning the scene?
Cleaning the scene? Yeah." I go, "Do you have a cough drop?" And you said, "No, I just ate a Kit Kat and I'm cleaning my teeth to make sure there's no chocolate on my teeth."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, okay." And then we got.
But then you went into, you were like, "So how you eat it? You eat it 1 stick, 2 sticks, 7 sticks?"
I eat Kit Kats in the proper way. I break the sticks off and I eat them one by one. But I've seen people take giant bites out of the big thing, and that qualifies as dirtbag mode. And you admitted you had the 2-piece, but you still did the 1 bite through the 2 pieces. So that qualifies you.
I normally don't eat it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I normally eat it 1 piece by 1 piece, but I was kind of keeping you waiting as I went to go get my sweater and a Kit Kat.
Oh.
So I felt bad. So I was just like, ow, and tried to eat it.
I'm the reason that you ate it dirtbag style.
Not necessarily you. I just felt bad keeping you waiting for a stupid reason, like, hey, I'm going to go get a Kit Kat. It was dark chocolate mint from the UK. So shout out to the UK for having the best Kit Kats.
So do you not eat regular Kit Kats?
No, like those are my favorite. Those and Reese's are my favorite out of like Halloween candy, but there's a store by my house that has like all the imported UK candy. So I go there like for Christmas or Easter or whatever to see what they had, and they had dark chocolate mint ones. And I'm sure they offer something like that here in the US, but I've never seen dark chocolate mint Kit Kats and or dark chocolate Kit Kats anywhere near me.
I love that you're a bougie Kit Kat person.
The chocolate tastes better in the UK because they're not allowed to put certain things in the chocolate over there that they're allowed to put here, so the chocolate tastes better. That's why Cadbury eggs and Cadbury stuff tastes better in the UK than it does here in the US.
All right. Well, we've covered the international scope of chocolate. And now,
if anybody wants to send me some dark chocolate mint Kit Kats, just,
Look, you can get nerdy about all sorts of things, and sometimes candy is one of them. But we have other stuff we're going to talk about in what's happening in a bit. But first, quick news that came out that doesn't have a lot of context to it, but it has been reported that they are going to recast Black Panther after not revisiting that for the sequel. Chadwick Boseman has now been gone for, I think, 4 years or so, 5 years, something like that. And it looks like they are going to be moving forward with a new actor for the new Avengers movies to play Black Panther, but also Black Panther 3. We as Star Wars fans, Lacey, last week we heard that they're recasting Ray Stevenson's character from Ahsoka, Baylan Skoll. So this stuff happens. Your quick thoughts? We don't know who it is or what's going on. It's a rumor at this point. It's not officially confirmed by any stretch of the imagination. I believe this was from Jeff Snyder. But your quick thoughts on the idea of them recasting. Do you think that's a good idea? And do you have anyone in mind?
I don't have anybody in mind immediately. I would have to kind of like look at a cast of people to figure it out. Um, I could see them maybe trying to pivot Michael B. Jordan's character into playing the new Black Panther if they wanted to go that route story-wise. If they're doing a straight up recast, then I don't understand why they didn't do that to begin with. It's even weirder that they waited a movie, tried to make Black Panther his sister, and then now they're kind of circling back and being like, "No, just kidding. We're going to recast him now."
Yeah, I
Because it
mean,
makes it lame because the second movie is about like his whole death and everything.
yeah, and Marvel doesn't really play by real life rules in terms of like obviously with all these multiverses and stuff like that. Like they could
Yeah.
do anything. They could have a Black Panther
They
be in
could.
the Doomsday universe that comes here and he's
They
that
could.
version of him or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I just feel like it's lame. They could have just recasted him 2 years ago, and I feel like Chadwick Boseman would have been okay with that. Like, I don't think
mm,
he's the person that was like, "No, you can't do this." I think that Marvel made a choice based on how people were going to
maybe it was
get
too
upset.
soon. Yeah.
They thought it might have been too soon, but now it just feels like weird. It's like a weird, a roundabout way. I didn't even consider the multiverse until you just said it, honestly. I don't know, it just feels weird. But then
Yeah.
with at the same time, the Ray Stevenson thing makes total sense because that character is so central to the story and there's a big question mark around him at the end of the first season that you had to recast him because the story had to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, what they're gonna do with it exactly, but it sounds like it's happening. So we'll wait for official reports on that. But let us know what you think in the comments. Black Panther recast, you happy about it, not happy about it, and who do you think could be the next Black Panther? Um,
Mhm.
Real quick, Golden Globes, we're not a big awards show podcast necessarily. We touch on maybe actors we like or we're rooting for and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so Harrison Ford loses again.
He always
Uh,
loses.
yeah, he has never won a Golden Globe or an Oscar, but he was nominated for Shrinking. So I was a little bummed about that because he's my favorite actor. He's in his 80s. He's never won, and he's one of the most revered of all time.
Mhm.
But overall, did you watch the show or did you watch like highlights and do you have any thoughts, uh, brief thoughts on the Golden Globes?
I watched highlights online, I didn't watch it straight through. I think even last year, I might have watched part of the Oscars and got bored and shut it off, and I just wait for the refresh because all these, award shows put up clips, like, as they're happening. They have someone putting up so I just wait for it to show up. So, I would say the thing that stood out to me was Demi Moore winning, which was awesome, and her whole speech was, like, the best speech I've heard in years
I haven't
of,
heard it
like,
yet, but I heard it's good.
it basically was telling her story of, like, I was told I was basically a popcorn actress, that I didn't have any kind of worth as a serious actress, and for many years, I kind of brought down my self-worth and thought, "This is it for me, I'm done acting." And she's like, "And then this crazy, wacky script came across my desk, and I took a chance on it, and here I am winning my first award." So, it's kinda like her speech summed up to, "It's never too late to make your dreams happen, and don't let someone else measure your worth, like, fight for yourself." Um,
Mhm.
and I just think it kinda rang true for a lot of people. I know it did with me. I was like, "You do you, Demi, like, way to go."
Yeah.
The other highlight for me was Nikki Glazer's opening monologue. I think she was great. She's one of my favorite comedians anyway, so she just killed it from the way that she added in probably more of the spicier, riskier jokes while also making fun of herself and poking fun at other people, but in a way that, like, everybody was laughing. It wasn't like last year where, like, that one guy was just failing miserably and everybody was making faces like that you're not funny.
Who?
My favorite
Oh, yeah.
I
Joe
think his
Coy or
name's
whatever it was?
Joy yeah, Coy, yeah. He just bombed terribly. My favorite joke of hers was definitely the Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco joke, who's the guy that she's engaged to. I'm not really sure what he does, to be honest. I just know
He
that you
does
look at
Selena Gomez.
Yeah, apparently. But she made a joke about him specifically. She goes, you know, Selena Gomez is here tonight. She looks so beautiful. And then she's like, and Benny Blanco's here because of the genie wish that was granted for him.
Oh, jeez.
So
That
funny.
that's gonna wear on that dude. I mean,
Maybe
anyway.
he was laughing along. And the other thing that came out of it that I just adored was a behind the scenes video of Selena Gomez, Martin Short, and Steve Martin on the red carpet talking with each other. Someone
Mhm.
had just kind of grabbed a video to them, which, by the way, I understand that it's like fun to see these moments, but I also feel bad watching them because they seem so kind of intrusive. But I guess that comes with the territory of the red carpet. Like you see all these phones just everywhere recording
Mhm.
everything. But watching them engage with each other, it was like watching an episode of Only Murders, and then you realize, like, maybe they're not acting, maybe they're just kinda being themselves exaggerated because, you know, Martin Short runs up to Selena Gomez, and he's like, "I'm gonna kiss you so much that all your makeup rubs off, you're so beautiful," and then she's just like, "Oh, you're so kind, thank you so much," and he's like, "You're at the cool table, you're too hip for us, oh my gosh," and Steve Martin's just kinda hanging out, and then she's just like, "I heard," he's like, "Well, Seth Rogen's at my table," and she's like, "Oh, so you have the hip table?" He's like, "Yeah, I guess I do," like, that kinda thing. And with the wildfires that are going on where Martin Short lost his house, which is absolutely terrible, which, by the way, our thoughts and support go out to everybody in Southern California. I know on TRB, we just did a match of relief funds for that, so, we really feel for those people, but to see him have a good time at this event before that happened makes, you know, it's a nice that he was able to once the next thing happened, you know, how are you gonna know? But
Yeah.
it's nice to see him being happy at least.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I didn't watch the show. I actually didn't know it was the Golden Globes until like that afternoon. And but I forget what we watched instead. We watched something. Um
Mm,
but I watched some of the highlights and like I think the Adam Sandler bit could have blown up in her face, but it went off like really well. It's like those types of moments
Timothée
like
Chalamet.
yeah, and then Sandler did it. Was like it went over really well. It could have been a very awkward moment, but
Mhm.
it went over well. But yeah, Harrison Ford not winning is kind of a bummer. I think there was someone else who was like, "Oh, I hope they win," and they didn't win either. But
Mhm.
Kieran Culkin winning, I think, is really cool because he's like almost 40, and you know he grew up being in the shadow of his brother because of Home
Mhm.
Alone, and he's in Home Alone, but he, you know, he's not the star. And
Mhm.
now he's had this like late career, not late career because he's still a young guy, but he's finally getting his moment. And I thought that was really cool to see him win because I liked Succession. I thought he was maybe the best part of that show. So it was cool to see him win. But yeah, Golden Globes done. We will see what that means for the Oscars. A lot of people think more than ever the Golden Globes no longer really predict Oscars the way they used to. So
Yeah.
we will see what actually takes home the big prizes because I think there was a big. Was it the Selena Gomez movie that was winning awards that people were surprised about?
Amelia Perez, yeah,
Yeah,
Zoe Saldana finally won, and it was a big moment for her. It was her first award as well. So overall, the night like was surprising of who won, especially given Demi Moore won for a horror movie, like a very gory, graphic horror movie.
I
So
haven't
people
seen
are
it yet,
surprised.
but
Yeah, people are surprised there because they're like, "Wow, that's how good her performance was." And if she ends up winning the Oscar, which people said she might, that is such a big moment for the horror genre in general, which has been killing it lately. The past few years, horror is doing better than any other genre. So,
oh yeah, it's very profitable because of the low budgets and people
yeah.
still like to see them. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's it for that. Let's get into our main stories of the day with what's happening.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
So we got some couple big rumors and announcements going on. Specifically, I would say more in the blockbuster superhero genre per usual. Those kind of drum up the most excitement. But first up, we have the DCU Batman movie director addresses speculation that Robert Pattinson will be in DCU's Batman. We talked about this a little bit last week. We didn't think he was going to be in it, and the director has been talking about it. John, first of all, do you want him to be? And what are your thoughts on what he said?
No. So yeah, last week was interesting because I think we were talking about the reports that he was potentially going to be the DCU Batman, and we both said like no chance.
I don't
There's
think he
just
would be. Yeah.
So then this comes out, and it's the current director of the movie who we both speculated is probably not doing this movie anymore.
You did. I didn't say that. You
Oh, I'm
definitely said that.
sorry.
You said it
Yeah.
just didn't seem like he was, because the podcast he was speaking on was, he was like, yeah, I got other stuff going on, and then
He's
this
doing the
movie's
It series.
Yeah.
There's a lot that he's doing, and also the Flash was not received well, and it's not just this person had a movie that was supposed to be huge and it flopped.
Yeah.
It's that, but more, because he did a DC movie that flopped that featured two Batman in it, including Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And it didn't go well. So that's why I'm like, I doubt this guy's making this movie still. But
this
I still
is Andy Muschietti, by the way, for people.
Yeah, who did the Flash. Yeah.
Yes.
But I still believe him that Pattinson's not going to be the Batman. I'm still sticking with that. And I don't want him to be. I think James Gunn's universe is going to be a different aesthetic. And Superman is supposed to, according to James Gunn, kick off that story. So I don't think they're going to be like, never mind, the Batman actually started this story. It's just, they're too disconnected. And the irony here is we finally got this new DCU with a clean slate with James Gunn, and this other Batman thing happens to be doing pretty well because the movie did decently. It made like $750 million. Not decent. That's really good.
It was well done. Yeah.
And then the Penguin comes out and blows people away. So now that has really added weight to that universe. So James Gunn has to play with this timeline of, how am I going to do mine while also allowing them to do theirs? Because they definitely don't want two Batman movies coming out at the same time, cancel each other out.
It's getting cannibalized, because there's just too much Batman content.
I don't envy James Gunn. I envy his checking account. I do not envy his decision making when it comes to this. So we'll see. But I still don't think he's going to be the Batman. I believe Andy Muschietti, but I also don't think Muschietti's going to be directing that movie. It's because the Flash, just the Flash alone, it's too close to home, and it was a misfire. And he had the arguably greatest Batman back for it, and it
fumbled it.
Work, so.
Yeah, I just remember that clip coming around. Yeah, that clip coming around of the Flash with the babies falling out of the building, and
the microwave.
Do the babies die?
No, I think he saves everybody. He may put a baby in a microwave, though. I forget what happens. It's weird. The Flash was so weird because
he's about to, but then they save him. I don't know. It's messed up. It was a weird scene. Like, who wrote that scene? Like, who was like, yeah, there's a bunch of babies and they fall, and then they're just falling out of the. I don't know. It just sounds terrible. Just recapping it. Anyway, but
Did
yeah,
you watch
Andy.
The Flash?
No, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Absolutely not. Okay.
Absolutely not. I don't like the guy in it. What's his name? The main guy?
Oh, the guy who plays the Flash?
Yeah, who's the Flash? See, he's so not important in my life that I forgot his name.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. Yeah, he's just not a good person. So I decide who I
not a good person.
Whatever. Ezra Miller is not a nice person and has gotten into a lot of trouble and was like abusing people and stuff. So
yeah, he has problems. That's for
We've
sure.
talked about this before on the show, and the way I choose to support celebrities and stars and stuff is either I see their stuff or I don't. I don't go out. I don't campaign for them to get their life destroyed. Like, that's too much. I just go, you know what? I'm not going to watch it.
If you want to know who wrote that scene with the babies, that would be screenwriter Christina Hodson.
Well, Christina Hodson, you suck.
Who also wrote Bumblebee and Birds of Prey. So there you go.
Well, I feel like Birds of Prey was good, people said. I haven't seen it. Bumblebee, I got bored 10 minutes in. So
I wanted to watch that, but I don't know what's going on with Transformers. Like, is it all still connected? Do you know? I feel like
I don't know, because they're doing animation right now, so it's like not even
like
actual live action anymore.
I want a clean start Transformers? You like the first Transformers. You talk about that a lot.
I love Shia LaBeouf. I really did. I did. I don't know if I like him anymore. He's a little...
It's a tough.
But back in the day, I liked him
Is
until
he
he went...
not?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
yeah.
I liked him and Megan Fox. I liked their dynamic. He was doing like the Vince Vaughn, like panicky, stumbling act, which I really enjoy, which is funny because I find that gets old after a while, Vince Vaughn, but it worked in Transformers.
She was fantastic in that movie.
I'm sure you thought she was.
She's talented. Okay.
She's pretty good. She's pretty good. But
do you want Pattinson to be Batman in the DCU?
We've talked about this before. I don't think their aesthetics match from like the Batman to Superman, which is where James Gunn's stories are going. I don't think they look the same. The tone's not the same. What are you gonna have like David Cornsweet being like, "Hello, be hopeful, hooray, let's go, Lois," and then you're gonna have Batman be like, "Hey, man, my parents are dead." Like, it just doesn't fit.
Cover of this Nirvana song.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit. But exactly what we said, by the way, with Andy talking about these Batmen and the rumors and everything. He said this means the next Batman movie, or he says that the Batman movie has now been pushed to 2027, which it has. The next second Batman movie, which the rumor with that is that they're trying to work in more of the Penguin. What does that mean, etc. So that's been pushed back a year. It was supposed to come out next year. It's coming out the year after that. So it's been pushed back to around, he says, 2027, which, quote, this means the next Batman movie will take some time before it sees the light of day, because you have to think production time is going to at least take 1 or 2 days to get it produced, shot, everything. Releasing 2 Batman films simultaneously will be counterproductive. What DC is doing is creating a strategy to ensure these 2 films don't conflict with each other. Regarding my involvement in the project, there are good intentions for now. They want to do the movie with me, and I want to do it as well. I'm eager to work with them. I feel like that end part, he's like, please work with me. That's how that reads to me, is like, please, we both like each other. Please work with me. But this part is very important. And if I was highlighting this on a screen right now for you all to see, you'd see that I covered 2 films don't conflict with each other. And if you don't want 2 films to conflict with each other, you're not going to pick the same person to play the main character, because then you just be like, what is this, a continuation? Is this Batman 3? Like, what is this? But yeah, so we'll see where it goes. But I 100% don't think that Pattinson's. I think Pattinson probably wants out too, because he's doing a lot of serious stuff now.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to make much sense at all, just logically.
Yeah.
So even if reports come out saying like, we're hearing that he is not going to be Batman, I'm like, no kidding.
Obviously, yeah. Another kind of brooding superhero, anti-hero type guy is the Punisher. And a new Punisher show is reportedly in development at Marvel Studios, with John Bernthal returning as Frank Castle. And this came from Daniel RPK, I'm assuming his Patreon page. And for me, I'm going to kick it off with that this is not surprising whatsoever. This show did really well on Netflix. It was a big hit for them. People loved this rendition of the Punisher. John Bernthal is good in everything that he does. Like, this guy can't miss. Both the actor and the character, because the character kills people. I think this is totally happening, especially because they're just doing the new Daredevil. They want to bring all that stuff together. I think towards the end of the Netflix series with Defenders and stuff, they really fumbled it, which is interesting because Sigourney Weaver was like the bad guy, and they just that fizzled out. So it hit with Daredevil, and then it hit with Jessica Jones. Iron Fist was terrible, not good. Luke Cage, awesome. Then they were like, okay, well, we had 1 bad one, 3 good ones. Maybe we could just kind of bring them together, and it was not good. So what are your thoughts, John? I know you love the Punisher, and you love John Bernthal.
Yeah, I like the Punisher a lot. I've seen all the Punisher movies, even the Dolph Lundgren one from the 80s. And I've enjoyed them all in their own way, but they were never able to really make Punisher a massive box office success, and then they're like, all right, let's try TV, and they get Jon Bernthal and his edgy approach to things, and I was sold on that. I agree with you. I really enjoyed The Punisher on Netflix. I thought it was great. I thought it was finally like, this really feels like they got it.
It was dark, man. It was dark.
And he's a good actor too. Like, nothing against anyone else who's played the Punisher before. The late Ray Stevenson played him in a very violent movie that didn't involve a lot of character. This Punisher involves a lot of character, and Bernthal's a good actor. He just won an Emmy for The Bear, of course. You know, he's still of age. It just makes a lot of sense, and he had previously said that he would come back if they were still allowed to explore the darkness and a lot of the violence, because that's what the Punisher is. And you look at something like Deadpool and Wolverine, and you're like, I think they can probably do it. So
also, Disney Plus is making that shift to rated R. Once Deadpool came out, they made that shift, which now I have 2 profiles on Disney Plus, one that's rated R and one that's not.
Oh yeah, we have one for each.
Yeah. So it's no surprise that they're going, okay, now we have this ability to do rated R. What content can we make for those people to stick around? Because not everybody's going to be watching Bluey or Disney movies all day. They want something with some substance to it. So I think that's also the shift, is that they're looking at their calendar going, okay, what's going to hit that tier of content?
Yeah. And my only other hope is like, you know, when like he's featured in the new Daredevil that's coming out, it's like, I was happy about that, but I can't ever be fully happy when I know that the person I'm glad is coming back isn't the main attraction. So like,
right, they're a cameo.
Back to the Flash, when the people are like, Keaton's back, he's Batman. I'm like, I'm excited. I'm really excited, but I really wish I was getting the 3rd Michael Keaton Batman movie where he's,
I know,
you know, so
Batman Beyond, right, where he's like an older Bruce Wayne would have been great.
Yeah. Would have been cool. They could still do it, but a lot of Batman going around. But with the Punisher, it sounds like they're going to give him his own show, and however they connect that to the Netflix version, I don't care. I just know when you get Bernthal, he's an actor who makes choices based on the caliber of content. You can tell that now. And I just, I'm confident. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what they do with his return as Punisher, because I never was positive that was going to happen. Cameos here and there is one thing, but saying like we're going back to the Punisher, it makes me really happy. So I'm really excited. I'm happy for Jon Bernthal too.
That's awesome. And everything you just said, I think about this next story. Excited.
Oh, do
Can't
you?
Wait. So, which by the way, one of the best jokes on Sunday from Nikki Glaser was related to Glenn Powell. Did you hear that joke?
Oh, I might have. Tell me again.
It was, so the 2 best jokes of the night for me were the Benny Blanco, Selena Gomez joke, and the Glenn Powell, it's so great to see you. You were in everything this year. You were in Twisters. You were in, what else was he in? Oh, Hitman. My head when I'm having sex with my boyfriend. Thanks for the assist, man. And he's just like laughing about it. And she goes, I'll see you later. Have a good night, man. Which he then shared on his Instagram and was like, at Nikki Glaser, thanks for the shout out. He's just so good with that stuff. I did find it weird that the Golden Globes had his lookalike from, like, you know how they're doing all these lookalike content online?
That's weird.
It's so weird, especially because they didn't invite certain people from certain films, but they invited the lookalike guy. Like, come on, what are we doing?
Speaking of the Golden Globes, I saw
this next story is about Glenn Powell.
Well, something about the Golden Globes with Glenn Powell real quick before, because I want you to take on this next story. But
sure.
Red carpet interview. He's being interviewed by that kid who's become really popular doing impressions, Matt Friend. Have you heard of this guy? He does like a really good Jeff Goldblum impression. He's tall. He does Mitch McConnell. Like, he does a lot of. Anyway.
Okay.
He's interviewing Glenn Powell, and I think that kid's like 6'3". Glenn Powell is listed at 6 feet tall. I'm calling shenanigans. This dude is 5'10" max. He
looks short.
Yeah. So, and then
It
there's
looks like
nothing
a
wrong
Tom
with
Cruise height.
No, Tom Cruise is like 5'6", 5'7". Like, this dude's taller than Tom Cruise. But I will, if I ever meet Glenn Powell, I will say, can we go back to back? And I want to see, because I'm 6'1". He's listed as 6 feet. I'm calling shenanigans because he would look a lot shorter than this kid, but it
How
doesn't
tall
matter.
is Sydney Sweeney?
Tall
Because
enough.
I'm looking at a picture. Okay. I'm looking at a picture of her and I'm wondering how tall he is. She's like up to his nose.
She's 5'3".
She's up to his nose. The top
Is
of
she
her
in
head
heels
is
though? That's a big difference.
Mm.
Because my wife is 5'4", 5'5", and she puts heels on. It's a different game. I'm 6'1".
It's true. Let me see. Let me try to find a picture of her with no heels. Maybe there's a picture of her from the movie. Okay, so here's a picture of her at the movie, not wearing heels in Anyone But You. She's in a bikini, standing at a dining room table. He's leaning over a little bit. He's almost eye to eye to her. If he's 6 foot, he would be bent over more than that.
I'm gonna say, and this doesn't matter. Glenn Powell has everything going for him right now, and I'm rooting for him.
He's wonderful. Yeah,
I'm on Team Glenn Powell. I am on Team Glenn Powell. But I think it would just be funny if like the one thing was that like he wants to be 6 foot, so they list him as 6 foot, but he's really like 5'10" or something, 5'9".
So like pictures of her on the boat when she's in the bikini and it's on the movie poster, like
I'm very familiar with it.
She is, not wearing heels and she's up to like her nose, eye levels at his chin nose. I'm saying I don't think he's 6 something is what I'm saying. He's probably 5'11". I think he's 5'11". And he's lying with 2 inches.
I'm thinking
to get
5'10", but all right. But he is going to be really rich regardless. So
yes, really rich, successful, and awesome is Glenn Powell. People talk
awesome.
about all the time, like if there's a celebrity that came out being like a really terrible person or did terrible things, like this would be one of the ones that would really break me because he just seems like such a nice person. He seems so nice, so genuine.
Is that your number one?
No, I think Tom Hanks is definitely everybody's number one.
No.
Like if it came out Tom Hanks, what, Harrison Ford?
Nope.
Who?
If anything ever retroactively came out about this person, I would.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes. How did you know that? How did you know that?
Because he's a nice person?
Yeah, but I mean,
I went to like who's the purest person in my head, and Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. If I ever found out that Mr. Rogers did something horrible, I would give up on humanity.
I think his house burnt down. Speaking of California fires.
We weren't speaking about the California fires, though.
At the beginning of the episode, we were. I think his house burnt down. Oh, no, a different Will Rogers. Is his name Will Rogers?
No, his name's Fred Rogers.
Fred Rogers, you're right.
Can you check? Is Aaron Rodgers' house still alive? Let's go down. What about Roy Rogers? Is his horse okay?
Okay, first of all, the post on social media was like the Rogers estate. So in my head, I went to Mr. Rogers. I was like, oh my God, Mr. Rogers' house burnt down? So give me a little grace there. Okay, anyway, let's get back to the story. The story is Glenn Powell and his Barnstorm banner sign first look deal with Universal. So he's starting a production company called Barnstorm, which I kind of like. Not fully into it, but kind of like. And it's signed.
Lacey, can I be honest with you?
Sure.
His production company could be called like Toilet Crust, and he'd be like, "Love it, cute."
No, I would not.
Like
no,
Glenn
I would
Powell,
not.
Like, he can do anything at this point.
That's not true. I am very critical of production-based stuff, like names of production companies, marketing specifically, any marketing stuff I'm very harsh about.
Just busting your chops. Go on.
Like the thing I hate that Glenn Powell's been doing lately is this like, he did it for Hitman and he did it with Anyone But You in like another movie. They always market him with this like lean pose where like him and the girl are like chest to chest and he's kind of leaning back and looking at her. I'm like, does he not know any other poses? Like do the Matthew McConaughey back to back. Let's get some new stuff in here. Anyway, So his production company signed a first look with Universal, and he's got the principal at Sean Levy's production company, 21 Laps, will help run it, Dan Cohen. So they haven't announced what the first project is, but basically, once he starred in Twisters, they were like, yeah, you could do whatever you want. And they signed him on for a first look. So they get to say, yes, we want this, or no, they don't want it, which is a big deal for him because it's seemingly, we've talked about it before, he can't miss. Like it's hit after hit with him. He did Anyone But You, huge hit. Hitman, hit. Twisters, hit. And Hitman, he just got nominated for a Golden Globe. And who knows what else he'll get nominated for. But yeah, so I can't wait to see what comes out of here. So what do you think, John?
So this is him and his production team. If they develop an idea, like they bring it to Universal first to say they want to put this out.
A first look is they get the first look over of the idea, a yes or no, before he goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
So they pay him for the ability to say, what is your idea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big timer now. He no longer has to audition for movies, that's for sure. So not surprising, and he seems like he has the type of head on his shoulders where he's handling this meteoric rise pretty well. I do see him flanked by PR people on the red carpets. You can see where they are and how nervously they stare as he's being interviewed and stuff. But he has this accessible way about him, and I do feel like he's earnest. I don't think it's an act. He seems like a genuine good dude. And I just every time he talks about making movies, I'll never forget the one thing he said, which was like, I want my characters to be memorable. I want people to dress up as like me as a Halloween costume. I don't want them to be this like forgotten, just a Glen Powell character in a movie. Like he really believes in the legacy of characters and stuff. And I think he's right on with that. So this is huge for Universal. It's huge for him. And we'll see what they come up with, but Top Gun 3 is clearly going to be Paramount, so we know that's not his project. So I'm curious, what is Glen Powell going to come up with for ideas for his movies now that we've seen what he has done under other people's umbrella? So
yeah, I mean, his movies this past year did really well. Anyone But You overperformed. Hitman did really well. It was on Netflix, so it can't really overperform, but Twisters did, which was directed by Isaac Chung. It grossed over $267 million with $371 million worldwide. The dude makes money.
I mean, that's not a lot though.
But compared to what I think they spent on it, it is. And they assumed it wasn't going to make that much money. And the movie also became a hit on Peacock in November, where it was the service's biggest pay one film in its release in the first 14 days on the platform. I'm pretty sure that's where I watched it, was on Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, it made, I think it made a little bit of money in the end, but I think it was also more importantly that it was well liked. I think people overall who saw it liked it, and I think critics were nice to it.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was good in it again.
Yep. I mean, they said that Universal Pictures president Peter Kramer said that Glenn is the complete package, a talented, charismatic producer, creator, writer, and actor at the top of his game who is committed to entertaining global audiences across all genres. He was an ideal partner throughout the production and release of our hit Twisters, and we know that he will continue to expand on his success in the years to come. We couldn't be more excited. And his partner, Dan, is coming from, like I said, 21 Laps with Sean Levy, he'd been there for 15 years. So that's not too shabby either. He's teaming up with someone that's done hits with Sean Levy, and everybody, Sean Levy's kind of like a directing darling this year with Deadpool and Wolverine. But yeah, so I can't wait to see what they do with it. Right now he's doing Running Man, so I'm interested to see what was it, the erotic thriller that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. So he's got a couple projects lined up. So based on what you said about him wanting to produce create great movies for people that love going to the movies. I want to see what genre he takes on, or if it is that
That's what I'm
erotic
saying. Yeah.
thriller.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what comes next.
Yeah. I mean, he has been very vocal about his respect and praise for how Tom Cruise's career has gone.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't seem like the guy who's like really focused on like I gotta win an Oscar type, at least not now. He
Mm-hmm.
wants to make movies that entertain people and that people remember and that sort of thing. And that's what Tom Cruise always said too. So if you're gonna model, if you want to be really successful in the movies and you want to model it after somebody, Tom Cruise is probably a good pick. As a making movies. We're not talking about anything else that he does, whatever. But
I had a moment last week where I was speaking to a client in a meeting call, and he was telling me a story about Tom Cruise, which I can't tell here because it's a private story. However, I did say that, I made some joke like, I'd love to get one of the coconut cakes he gives out. I want to get on that coconut cake list. And man, was it crickets on this phone call. I have never been so aware of being online, like chronically online, like they call it, like I did with this coconut cake joke. Like no one got it. And I was just like, do you guys know about the coconut cake? And everyone was like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh God. I felt so embarrassed. I wanted to crawl under my desk and just log off and never bring up cake again.
So wait, did you go on to tell like his whole coconut cake story?
I explained it. I said there's a list of people that once you're on it, you get a coconut cake every year from this bakery in LA, and it's supposed to be like the best cake ever. And I've always wanted one, and I love coconut, and like it's just like hey, you're a big deal if you get a coconut cake from Tom Cruise.
You should have made up a story.
Everyone just looked at me like I was crazy. And meanwhile, I just want to try that cake so bad. Next time we're in LA or in Southern California, we're getting that cake. I heard it's like $100. I don't care.
What if it turns you into a Scientologist, though?
Why would it turn me into a Scientologist?
Well, what if you eat it and there's some sort of drug or something in there that
I don't think so. It's from a very well-renowned bakery in Los Angeles.
Is the bakery owner L. Ron Hubbard?
No. I'm just making the point that there are times like these that we talk about this stuff at such detail of things that are happening online and pop culture and whatnot, that if you talk to a normal person, they'd be like, oh yes, the coconut cake, like online, or sorry, you talk to someone that's online a lot like myself, they'll be like, oh yeah, of course I know what you're talking about. But then I talk to 3 people who are in the industry, by the way, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And I feel like such a moron. That happens a lot. But it was a funny moment that I was just like, okay, never mind. Just kidding.
I'm sure they forgot about it. Don't worry about it.
Imagine I get a cake next year and it's from Tom and he's just like, I heard your story. And you're like, what?
If you get if you get a cake from Tom Cruise, like, would you eat it or would you like?
I would take a picture of it and then frame the picture and hang it on my wall. But yes, I would 100% eat it.
Would you let anyone else eat it?
Of course. You want to come over and have a piece of coconut cake?
I can have some. I'm not a big coconut guy.
Then you don't get one.
But I would eat it because it's Tom Cruise's coconuts.
No, you have to like coconut to have some.
I want to eat Tom Cruise's coconuts. Why can't I eat it?
Okay.
Oh, you're sick.
I didn't say anything.
You're laughing. What a dirty mind. Jeez.
You can order the cakes online. So if anyone wants to order me one.
How much are they? Like $5,000?
$120.
Why don't we just buy a cake then?
Maybe we should. And do a review
video. Be like, Tom Cruise, we bought your cake. We're eating your cake.
Just tag him in it, like Tom.
Put us in Top Gun 3 as
come on the podcast, Tom.
Yeah, like let me and Lacey be the bad guys in like a MiG, and we get like Maverick blows us up in Top Gun 3 just because we bought your cake.
Can I just be someone that like looks at him with hard eyes in a bar and while he sings or something?
Him or Hangman?
Both.
Oh, you have the hots for Tom Cruise? You like old Tom Cruise?
Tom
Just
Cruise
men?
is a very.
What did you say?
Just men in general. Honestly, some women too. We're being.
What is happening?
Tom Cruise is very attractive. His the thing that kind of bothers me about him is that his front teeth are offset a little bit, but besides that, like, he's very attractive.
Oh, you mean like me?
Are yours offset?
We've gone over this story before.
Oh, well. I can only keep so much information in my head, John.
Recycle bin. Delete. All right.
Speaking of hard
do we have anything else happening?
No, I think I'm good to talk about some love and romance trailers coming soon.
Let's talk about fake pregnancies.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
It's trailer time. And
It
what we
is.
do here is we talk about, the recent trailers that have come out. Some of them are popular. Some of them are just sort of like, whoa, this is weird. We're going to talk about it. But we have 3 that we're going to talk about. I don't think any of these are going to be box office darlings or massive hits by any stretch of the imagination. But let's start things off with Amy Schumer's latest effort on Netflix, coming out in less than a month, February 5th. You got Amy Schumer, you got Will Forte, MacGruber himself, and this movie's called Kinda Pregnant. And the premise is a woman, Amy Schumer, realizes she's getting a lot of attention and favors and benefiting by people thinking she's pregnant, and she rolls with it. Lacey, what did you think of this trailer? I know you're one of the biggest Amy Schumer fans I know, so I'm curious, did this land
Is that
for you?
genuine?
The way, well, you have Trainwreck on Laserdisc. You have her stand-ups on vinyl.
I have No, I do not. I have Trainwreck on Blu-ray, I think, when it came out. I'll
Bill
admit,
Hader,
yes, I was an Amy Schumer fan, I would say about 15 years ago, when she was kind of a big deal. Since then, how the mighty have fallen. And this premise is stupid. Amy Schumer is like one of the most unlikable people I've ever seen in my life. And I feel bad that Will Forte has to play her love interest. This movie looks so dumb. It's like trying to make humor that was somewhat funny and charming for Knocked Up. It's like not funny now.
Mhm.
Like, and she says horrible things in real life online. It's just, she steals people's jokes. I have
She
no interest.
does.
Yeah, I have no interest in watching this. I hope it fails and burns terrible, like just does so bad that Netflix never gives her another dime. That's how much I don't like her.
I was there were a couple of years ago. I don't know exactly what year it was, but she put out like another Netflix special. It was like her return to her stand-up or whatever. And I just remember I liked Trainwreck and I liked some of her comedy, but then I heard about the joke stealing and I really just...
You don't steal from Patrice and then try to get famous. Like, get out of here.
From anybody. That's like a big deal.
I understand that, but Patrice is like one of the best comedians of all time. So
And now
I'm
he's
going to
dead.
say, I know. So that's even more messed up.
Yeah.
So I'm good, Amy Schumer. You can keep your pregnant belly and just go away. Please.
Yeah. So she comes out on stage for that special, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this, but I'm not really that interested. I want to see what she comes out with now, because this was, I think, after the accusations of stealing jokes. And the first joke she says, she talks about how her underparts smell. And I was like, I'm all set.
Not funny.
Yeah,
See,
I'm like, I'm all set. Like, I don't know what the shtick is about, like, let me try to gross out, like you're not Lisa Lampanelli. Like, she had a good shtick with that type of stuff. It's just, I agree. I don't like Amy Schumer. Like, I'm not going to get into other reasons why, Chuck Schumer, whatever. But this movie, I'll just say it. This trailer doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a good movie. I think it's below Will Forte, because I still think he's really funny.
The humor is so old. It's like you're talking like 08, 09 humor.
Yeah, her shtick hasn't changed.
And you look at someone like at the top of the show talking about Nikki Glaser. It's fresh, it's new, it's current, it's funny, it's
But it's
self-deprecating.
smart.
It's smart. She gets the vibe. She reads the room. Amy Schumer is not even invited in the room. Like she's just
Mhm.
like not like you're not cool anymore. You just need to go away. Like you made your
Mm.
money. Enjoy your life. You have like a chef husband. Like go do your thing.
Yeah, I will not be watching Kinda Pregnant.
Neither will I.
Even though it's on Netflix and I have Netflix, I'm still not going to watch
I'll
this movie.
still watch something else.
I don't want to watch Amy Schumer's movie for free without having to move off my couch.
I'd rather browse for 3 hours straight in the time it takes to watch her movie than watch her movie.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, we have another one here, Companion, starring Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher. That's hitting theaters on January 31st. This one looks like it has a little bit of darkness to it, but also like real dark humor.
It's like quirky.
Yeah, so sort of like a horror movie with like a tongue-in-cheek sort of wink at the audience type of vibe.
It looks
But
like
it's
Wes Anderson with horror.
yeah, it's Warner Brothers that's putting it out. I don't know the writer-director Drew Hancock. Am I going crazy, or was this the one that said from the people who brought you the Notebook, or was that the
It
other
did.
one?
It says
Who brought the
from
Notebook?
It says from the studio that brought you the Notebook. That's a cop-out phrase.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
So that had to have been a joke because it's probably like true, but they're like, let's use the Notebook because this is the exact opposite of the Notebook.
Yeah, so it's the
That's
creators
funny.
of Barbarian from the studio that brought you the Notebook. And they're already doing that thing, which guys, and by guys, I mean listeners at home, our buddies listening to this right now. You can always tell when a movie's not going to do well when they're using pull quotes from people online. If they're not using a pull quote from actual outlets and they're using it from like at hamburger guy 12, like that's not good. That
Ooh,
means
let's
that they
see.
have no quotes from this movie that resonate from actual press. The one thing I can't get past is that they did kind of make this look like Priscilla in the trailer, like the Priscilla movie that just came out, like the same kind of look and the coloring and everything. But besides that, the title is the same font as Campbell's Soup, and I can't get past it. I don't know why they chose that font.
Is it?
I don't know why they chose that color because it looks like Campbell's Soup, and the movie's called Companion.
That does look like Campbell's Soup.
Did you look it up?
Did you just think of that?
Yeah.
What? Now we gotta look at the Campbell's Soup logo and take a look here.
Campbell's Soup. It
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
is. I'm telling you. Yep.
I mean, similar
Same
for sure.
C,
Yeah.
same C, same like. Well, this is an updated version. I'm talking like old school Campbell's. Show me old school Campbell's. Yeah, it's the C. It's like the curly C. It
The
looks
script
like
C.
Campbell's. Yeah, it looks like Campbell's Soup. And they used
right.
red too. It's just like,
Well-
look, they're trying to do the whole thing where they're like, it's a love story, heart, knife emoji, but it's coming out around Valentine's Day. But the thing is they just did this concept with like a robot that's in love that tries to kill people, with Subservient, with Megan, which did it much better. It's hard for me to get behind the kind of the ironic, silly, oh, we're releasing a horror movie over holiday, Valentine's Day, when the next trailer we talk about also comes out around Valentine's Day and is also a horror movie. It just seems not original. Like you're all doing it. So instead of releasing this over Halloween, which would have been a better place for it, you're releasing it in Valentine's Day, and this next movie has a whole concept that goes along with Valentine's Day, so it just seems out of place.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this was an interesting trailer, though.
Sure.
And I guess what they mean by the studio that brought you the Notebook, they're talking about just New Line Cinema, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got it. I always have to sort of tip my hat when you see. And I know you're saying it's been done before, but it is not a sequel. It's an original movie,
Yeah.
and those are becoming harder and harder to come by.
They are.
And I like Jack Quaid, nepotism aside. Sophie Thatcher, I don't know that I've seen her in a lot of stuff.
You've seen
but
her
I
in
like
Book
the
of
bar.
Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, who was she in that?
She's the motorcycle girl.
Oh yeah, I didn't really like those characters very much. But the Barbarian I really liked because it was unique, different. It was a new spin on horror. So if the same people are putting put that together or putting this together, I may see there's 5 billion horror movies. We may see one that once again has its own little unique spin on stuff. So I'm interested in this. I'll be honest, 0 chance I'm getting to the theaters to see it, but I think I would probably check this out eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our last trailer, which is Heart Eyes, and it's the people who made the Scream reboot. So I think Scream 5. So the guys who did Ready or Not, maybe. But
Spyglass, right?
yes. So it's basically about a masked killer who wears heart emojis over his eyes that are like sort of lit up, and they're the only parts of him that are lit up. And it's a slasher movie, so it's right in the pocket with all those classics that have a masked killer. So you're talking Scream, even Friday the 13th, because we weren't sure who it was. I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is also coming back. So, and even Scary Movie, which is a parody of Scream, is getting a reboot. So, I agree with you though, Lacey, with the whole like they're overdoing the horror movies on Valentine's Day. I'm pretty sure the horror movie Valentine's Day came out on Valentine's Day. Yeah, it did. So
Which studio did Valentine's Day?
I just X'd it out.
Oh, I'm just curious if it's the same studio as one of these. Like, is it the same thing that they just
It came out in 2000 and oh wait, that's an American comedy. Isn't there a Valentine's Day horror movie? Why am I losing my mind?
I thought it was Happy Death Day.
Oh, 2001 Valentine's Day. Yeah, it came out 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. Just a killer film. February 2nd, 2001. And that was made by the wonderful people over at... I'm trying to find it. I can't find it.
Well, I can tell you right now, John watched me watch this trailer before the show.
Wait. Sorry. It's called Valentine. Your buddy David Boreanaz is in it. Denise Richards is in it. Katherine Heigl's in it. And it was made by Warner Brothers. Distributed by Warner Brothers.
Ah. So the people that are doing Companion. Anyway, Hard Eyes. I get it. And some couples like to see scary movies together on Valentine's Day. It's a date thing. It's like,
tell people
look at
your reaction to the end of the trailer. Because I got to watch you watch it.
So, well, why don't you tell them what you saw?
So, sometimes when we hop on and record, one of us or both of us will be like, oh, I forgot to watch that trailer. Let me
have to catch up. Yeah.
So we'll be on video with each other, not recording. And Lacey's face, you know, like that video of that kid and he does the wide mouth thing where he's like,
yeah,
like
in the
that.
audience. Yeah.
You were sort of doing that, but your face just kept sinking with like, I don't know what. You were just like your face just kept sinking. Like to the point where you're like, I can't believe what I'm watching. And I was like, you didn't say anything. You didn't move your head. It just slowly, the life force of goodness was slowly slipping away from your face as you were watching this. And
it
I was
was
like, that would
getting
be a
more
great reaction video. Just you staring at it.
It was getting more and more graphic as the trailer went on, to a point that I was like, this is in like a everybody trailer, not a Red Band trailer. Like anybody can come across this. It was very graphic. And some people like that. And I understand that. It's not for me. I like my Valentine's Day with rom-coms and fun and good feelings. There's only so many days of the year that you can celebrate in a wonderful way of appreciation. And I don't think the holiday is good for scary movies, but some people like that, so that's fine. I will not be seeing this.
I'm not going to the theaters to see this either. Maybe this is, they're trying to target teens on dates with this, and that typically is the target audience for slashers. I don't know if it still is, but it was when I was growing up and even before my time. But I'm not going to see it, though I may check this one out once it hits streaming just out of morbid curiosity. I'm probably not, but maybe. I do like the slasher we don't know who the killer is thing, and that's why I keep coming back to see those Scream movies, even though they all suck except like the first one and sort of the second one. But Hard Eyes looks pretty stupid. I'm sorry.
It does.
All right, well, now why don't we get into what we are watching?
We can never leave the house and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
So, as we have been for the past 8 weeks, or 7 weeks, should I say, I've been watching Skeleton Crew. We just had episode 7. By the time this comes out, we're about to watch the final episode. We talked about it on TRB with Force Center. It was a really good conversation. They got into some deep theories that I didn't even consider, so definitely check that out. But I'm really loving this series. And the way, if it sticks to the landing, this might end up being my favorite Star Wars series ever. Over The Mandalorian. So we'll see how that goes. But other than that, I'm back on my Bluey game with my kids. My daughter's back into it. Archie really loves it. He gets all excited with the theme song and yells out at the Bluey part. He's all pumped about it.
That's cute.
They're at the point now that they love the theme song so much that they make me put it on in the kitchen while I'm like cooking or cleaning or whatever. And Daisy likes to spin. That's her thing right now. She like spins around, 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 around. And then Archie does it, but he can't walk yet. He's not there. So he sits on his butt and just scoots around in a circle with her. So they're both doing this. Anyway, it's a lovely moment.
Wait till they're both running around.
I know. Other than that, I'm watching one of my favorite kind of terrible shows, which is Married at First Sight. It's usually, I believe, on Lifetime or TLC, one of those. I think it might be TLC actually. But they upload the seasons to Netflix like a year after it airs. So they just uploaded a new season. So the concept is kind of like Love is Blind. I would say Love is Blind is probably a ripoff of this show. But it's a group of people that all go through this whole process with a psychiatrist and a pastor and all these other things. And they, usually are in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe. And they haven't had luck in love and they want to find someone, they want to start a family. So they're willing to be in an arranged marriage and they get married at first sight, walk down the aisle, get married, go on a honeymoon, and then they live together for 40 days. And they follow their journey of living together. And then at the end of the 40 days, they have to decide, are we staying together or are we going to get a divorce? And it's a real marriage. So it's like a real divorce and everything. It's my guilty pleasure, I guess. I love watching it. I love seeing how the couples turn out. Some of them, you're always like, oh, that's going to turn out so well. And then you see the person start to turn into the reason of why they've been single all this time or like why you know what I mean? You start to see those symptoms creep in that you're like, oh, yeah, this is why this person, they're a mess or, oh, they're really rude at night or I don't know. You start to see those things because there's that honeymoon phase where they're like, oh, this is perfect. And then it starts to settle in with real life. They start talking to exes and or they don't like the person like attractiveness wise. So it's like super awkward where you just don't have that vibe. It's hard to explain, but man, I love the show. I watch it every season. It's so good.
I do find it funny with those shows when people like they're so full of it when they say this stuff, but they try to high horse it about how like, oh, I can't believe like once she looked at him or he looked at her, like she wasn't interested. Like, don't you like you fall in love with the person? I'm like,
there's always a first attraction. There's always a first attraction. Now, can that attraction grow over time? 100%. I've had past relationships that I wasn't attracted to the person at first, but like over time, getting to know them, I've gotten attracted. But yeah, it's interesting. I think for me, the funny thing is all these people lie to get into the situation. So you have to apply to the show. Then you go through all these rounds of interviews and everything, and then they match people up. They play matchmaker. And you have these people that are like, I want someone that's adventurous and outgoing and really like determined in life and loves this and loves that. So they end up putting these people together being like, you wanted this, and they give them that person. And then they're like, this is too much. I didn't want this. And they're like, throughout the process, they'll sit down and be like, when you went through the interview process, you said you wanted someone that's adventurous, that would get you out of your comfort zone, that would do these things, that, I don't know, likes cheese. This person likes all these things, and now you're telling me you don't like cheese. So it's interesting.
All right.
The only thing that bothers me now with these dating shows is that a lot of stuff does happen off camera. It's not like Big Brother where cameras are always on, or Real World or anything like that. They record at certain times. So they'll have a conversation with that person off camera, and then the next day they're mad at each other, and you're watching the video and you're like, why are they so mad at each other? What happened? And it's because they had conversations off camera. That's been happening a lot with Love is Blind on Netflix and stuff, where you're just like, I've missed the point of the story.
That's the part we want to watch.
I know.
Yeah, you always want to watch what causes the fight. More than
because you want to feel like you get to judge it. You're like, is this person right? Is this person right?
It's sort of like there's a
train wreck.
weird, yeah, it's train wreck, but it's also knowing that like when you see drama that you have nothing to do with, it's a little bit like, ooh, get the popcorn, you know?
Yeah.
But
if you like this kind of stuff, you and Kathleen would like this show. It's good.
Maybe. I think we didn't finish Love is Blind, so we're gonna try that again. But
this season of Love is Blind was not good.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll finish.
Just skip ahead to the reunion, basically.
All right. So we watched Squid Game. Of course, both of us did.
Yes.
Kathleen has decided to watch it, so I'm already on a rewatch of season 2.
What are your thoughts so far, rewatching it?
Better.
Oh, really?
I feel like when I first watched season 2, I didn't pay attention as much as I thought I did. And because I do watch it with English subtitles. So if I'm looking down at my phone, usually if I'm watching something, I look down at my phone, I'm hearing what's happening. But in that one, I'm hearing Korean. I don't know what they're saying. So now, like, I was just fully like just watching it because I'm like, man,
you're falling into that bucket that Netflix is saying that they're marketing to screenwriters.
No, I'm not.
You just said you were on your phone while watching it.
I said if I look at my phone for a minute, if I'm like, oh, Lacey's texting me because we gotta go over designs for the t-shirts or something. So I'll be watching. But if I'm hearing English, I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm not saying like I'm just sitting on my phone the whole time I watch something. If I'm putting something on to watch it, I'm gonna watch it. But let's not forget,
Lee Jung-jae the respect he deserves.
We're going to lunch together next week. How about that?
If you were, I'd be so jealous. He looks so delightful.
We're gonna order the coconut cake. 1 cake, 2 forks.
I really wish you were in that
cake.
meeting with me. I have never bombed so hard. I'm usually super charming in client meetings, and man, did I bomb.
I would have helped you out. Even if I didn't know what it was, I would have been like, yes! Oh my God, the coconut cakes driving me nuts.
Too hard. Went too hard.
No, you know me.
Back it off. Back it off.
No. You go full.
Now I know when you do that, I'm going to know that you have no idea what I'm talking about and you're just lying. You've given up the game.
I'll come up with a new game, a new Squid Game. So check out, we did our episode last week was all about Squid Game. We did our full season 2, series 2, episodes 1 through 7 of a 2-part season 2 that's getting a season 3 because Netflix.
In June. They accidentally posted it. It's June.
But go watch or listen to our review from last week. We talk all about Squid Game season 2. But I also watched Skeleton Crew, of course, loving it. I've started rewatching some episodes of Batman the Animated Series. All this Batman talk. It's just such a good series. It's on Amazon and probably some other places. a lot of nostalgia there, so that was cool. And then I checked out also on Amazon, Eli Manning, who's one of my favorite football players ever, beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. What up? Beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl, actually, 2 Super Bowls. He has this new show where he's taking athletes to go undercover, like he did with that Chad Powers thing that Glenn Powell's now making a movie of, apparently. Do you hear about that?
He is. Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Eli's he's like, all right, that went really well. Let's do a
It's like
Candace
Undercover Boss.
show. Yeah, except it's these athletes. So the first one was Baker Mayfield, who's now the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Bucks, went undercover as a fan through this whole fan experience, and then at the end he reveals that he's Baker Mayfield, and it was actually really, really well done, and it was entertaining and fun. So even if you don't like sports, I don't think you need to know who these people are. It'll help you, but it was a really fun show, and Eli sort of does the, "Hi, I'm a nice white guy, and I'm here to talk to you about my show," and stuff. He does that classic like 80s intro of a TV show. It's
So
really good.
was he like doing like fan tosses and stuff, and people were like,
So I don't want to reveal too much, but they figure out what they want to do for his character, and they're like, we need like clear things to make you not look like you, because Baker Mayfield is a very animated personality. He's a big personality. He's not a big guy. He's like 5'10", 5'11", or whatever, but people recognize him very easily because he's been in commercials. He's like one of those types of quarterbacks. So they test it out on his team, and they go into the locker room, and the guys are just like, "Yo, what up, dude? You look weird." And they're like, "Oh no, we're so screwed."
"Oh
So
no!"
they had to go back and like give him a different nose, change how his eyes look and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they sent him in,
Prosthetics, yeah.
and these people were like blown away. Like they couldn't believe it when, like, at the end, he does something to reveal who he is.
Sure.
And they were all just like, "Oh my God." And it's cool seeing people's reaction because they're
That's
such
fun.
big fans.
Yeah.
Because most of them were just talking to him as though he was a regular fan. So they're talking to him about him. It's just a very, it's like if you ever wanted to be invisible, people always said, what superpower would you want? It's like, I would love to be a fly on the wall. I'd love to be invisible to hear what people think about me. It's like, he got to do it. So he goes undercover, and it's really cool. Yeah. So check that out, especially if you like sports, but it's just a fun show in general. Eli Manning presents The Undercovers on Amazon. So thumbs up for that for me. But that's it. And that's it for the show. So thank you everybody for listening or watching, getting nerdy with us. We really appreciate it. Year 2 of the podcast, 34 episodes in, and once like Skeleton Crew finishes up, we have some interviews to do and stuff like that. But once things settle in with TRB, we're going to explore new things for Nerdy and Nice, new segments, maybe play some games, stuff we've been talking about for a while. But we thank you all so much for being a part of it. Make sure you are subscribed, like Lacey said, to Nerdy and Nice, whether that's Apple, Spotify, on the channel here, youtube.com/@TRB podcasts. Rate us 5 stars, leave a review. We really appreciate that. And tell your friends, and also join our Patreon, patreon.com/TRB podcasts. And also our store. Lacey, tell them about the Nerdy and Nice merch.
Yeah, so you can head over to trbpodcast.com, where we have merch for TRB Resistance Broadcast specifically, Star Wars merch, Galactic Goonies, TRB logo stuff, but also Nerdy and Nice stuff. We have a pocket tee, a sweatshirt, with tons of more designs coming. We're already planning on our next set of collection designs coming up in the early spring. And we have a special design just for celebration for TRB, which we're excited to post as well. But yeah, head over there. It supports the podcast and what we're doing here. In addition to, honestly, it's just really good merch. The hats are really awesome. The sweatshirts are beautiful. I'm not just saying that. It's
Comfy.
the happiest I've been, with our merch in the years that we've been doing it.
I couldn't agree more. It's comfy, well made. It's amazing.
Yep.
Oh, also, Lacey, I don't think we brought it up at the top. We're still running our giveaway contest. So
we are.
Yeah.
Probably till next week. Yeah.
Yeah. So we lagged in getting social media posts. That's probably my fault. But you want to make it's our fault. We stink. No.
No. Gave everybody an
wanna,
early head start.
Yeah, you want to rate us on your favorite podcast app. Take a screenshot and make sure you post that to social media, whether that's Instagram, X, or Blue Sky, using hashtag nerdy for Squid Game. And you'll be entered to win the red light, green light doll, which we showcased last week. And what did we say? Something else, right?
Nerdy nice merch, and then the little kind of random
orbs.
unboxing Netflix stuff, which we have a couple ourselves that we're going to be doing in the next few weeks. We're going to do an unboxing.
Yeah. So basically, rate us, take a screenshot, post it to social media, use hashtag nerdy for Squid Game, and you'll be entered to win. So thank you all very much. Our first giveaway contest on Nerdy and Nice.
Yay.
Big shout out to the Movie Star Generals and Silver Screen Spice Runners on Patreon. We can't do it without you. The show wouldn't exist without you. Carmelo, John Risi, Jenna Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornak, Colin Cormier, Steve Garrow, Sachi, and Darth Snips. And the Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shah, Kendall, Gelner, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the THEFORTWORTHIAN. And however you support Nerdy and Nice, TRB, Resistance Broadcast, Lacey and I, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll be back with you next week with another episode of Nerdy and Nice. For Star Wars fans, this Wednesday, the finale of Skeleton Crew, the finale of Galactic Goonies, 8:30 East Wednesday, with our good friend Clayton Sandell to close that out, and also let you know how you can enter to win our TRB Galactic Goonies giveaway treasure hunt contest. So a lot of stuff. Soak it all in, but we hope you enjoyed the show. And Lacey, where can people find you?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran, and for the time right now, currently on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran until it's not here anymore.
Yep. And for me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky, a little bit of X, of course, still, and my movie pod, Just Like the Movies. We'll be doing Sin City this week, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of attractive people in Sin City. A lot of ugly people in Sin City too, though.
That was such a big deal when that came out. It was like such a big deal.
I saw that in theaters. That was a good.
So did I.
Did you?
Yeah. Jessica Alba. Yep. I saw.
Yep. Yep. All right. Thank you all so much. Enjoy your weeks, and we'll see you next time right here on Nerdy and Nice. So until then, see you around, kids.